my god, oh my god, stop staring at me. Oh. What's up, guys? So I know I'm in my car and that's kind of strange, but we have a realtor at our house right now. He is assessing our house because we were working on selling it, and so I've spent the whole day painting. That's why I look kind of nasty, and I just like threw on this shirt so I'd look semi-cute before hopping on to make this video. So today I'm doing a quarantine book recommendation, and because I had to leave my house and come do it in the car, I literally, oh my god, I can't pick it up. Oh. I packed this giant bag of books, and I had an order that I was gonna tell them to you guys in, but now they're in no particular order, so I'm just gonna pull them out and read them, tell you guys about them. Okay, solid. So yeah, I asked on Instagram if you guys wanted me to do a quarantine book recommendation or another vlog, and I think 21 people said book recommendation and like 18 or 19 said vlog. So I think I'm gonna do a vlog next or something fun. So anyways, I figured I'd do the book recommendations because it won by just a little bit, but I'll continue to do stuff like that, so follow me on Instagram if you want to vote on what I do next. So in no particular order, let's get into the video of book recommendations. So right on the top is one I actually just finished reading, and this is The Bromance Book Club by Lisa K. Adams. This is about Gavin and Thea, and Gavin is a second baseman for a major league baseball team in Nashville, and him and his wife Thea are having marital issues. They have 2 twin girls, and anyways, some of the guys on his team and some of their friends have a secret book club for guys where they read like old-timey romances to figure out how to like treat their women and their wives and stuff. So anyways, he tries to save his marriage by joining this book club with his guy friends, and it's so cute and it's so funny, and I laughed the whole time, and it was definitely a 5-star read, high quality. I totally recommend. Next up, oh, this is such a good one. Okay, so this book is called The Silent Waters by Brittany C. Cherry. This is in her Elements series, so there's I think 4 books in Elements, and it's like air, water, gravity, I don't remember the other one. Fire? I don't know. But I've only read this one and then the 4th one, I think it is, and that one's called The Gravity of Us. And honestly, they were both so good. I've heard the first one, I think it's called The Air He Breathes, is not that good. But this one, I think, is the 3rd one, and then The Gravity of Us is the 4th one, and they're not related at all. They're all completely different stories. But basically, this one is about a girl, I don't know her name. So this book is about Maggie and Brooks Griffin, and basically something really traumatic happens to Maggie when she's a kid, and so she becomes mute after that and can't speak anymore, and she also has agoraphobia, I'm pretty sure is what it's called, but she can't leave the house because she's like terrified to leave her house because something really traumatic happened to her. So her brother's best friend, Brooks Griffin, I was about to say Griffith, Griffin, ends up becoming really good friends with her, and then they kind of form a romance, and it's a very sweet book. Just read it. It's so good. I'm really bad at these descriptions, but they're really good books. Okay, so next up, again, in no particular order, is The Wives by Taryn Fisher. This is a completely different style of book, but this is a psychological thriller about a woman who is married to a man with multiple wives. So he like calls them by the day of the week that he spends time with them. So, you know, there's like Tuesday, and then there's like Saturday, and he doesn't tell the girl's like point of view this is from. He doesn't tell her like the other wives' names. He just calls them by the day of the week. Anyways, this was definitely a psychological thriller. Really good. I was so into it. I read it in like a day. So highly recommend this one. Next up, I have Verity by Colleen Hoover, which is actually kind of a similar style of book. So Colleen Hoover, if you guys don't know, is my favorite author. Most of you guys do know because I'm obsessed with her and I talk about her all the time. But anyways, this is her first, I guess psychological thriller is what you would call it. And it was so good. Oh my gosh. It was amazing. I made my sister-in-law read this and this is in her top 2 books now, like ever. But, oh my God, people. So this book is called Verity by Colleen Hoover, and basically this is about Lowen Ashley, who is an author, like, who's really struggling trying to like get like a publishing house to take her, and so basically a really famous author by the name of Verity, I don't know her last name, but she has been writing these series that like the whole world is obsessed with. And so she gets into a really bad like car accident and becomes paralyzed from like the head down, and so she can't finish the series, and so they hire her, like publishing, Verity's publishing house hires Lowen to come and live in Verity's house, and read through all of her manuscripts and her notes and everything to try to finish the last book for her underneath Verity's name. And so she lives with Verity and her husband and their son, and her husband's just been taking care of Verity. Anyways, kind of a creepy book, but it is so good. It will keep you on the edge of your seat. I read this book in 24 hours. It was phenomenal. But basically, Lowen finds a manuscript that Verity has been reading, and it is very twisted and very concerning about what she wrote in that manuscript about her life. So anyways, phenomenal book. If you're into psychological thrillers, I'd recommend this one. All right, next up we have the Summer I Turned Pretty Trilogy. So this is 3 books in one. That's why it's so massive. The first time I ever read this, I read all 3 like books individually, but then I bought this, which is like all 3 of them combined. This is the best series ever. So if you're gonna read anything from this video, just here it is. This is it. Basically, this is called the Summer I Turned Pretty Trilogy by Jenny Han. She also wrote To All the Boys I Loved Before, but genuinely I think that this is better. Basically, this is a story about a girl named Belly. I think her name might be Isabella, but she goes by Belly. And every summer she goes with her mom and her brother to stay with her mom's best friend and her 2 sons, and they stay at their beach house every summer for like their entire lives. And basically it's her romance with it's like a love triangle between her and the other 2 brothers, but it sounds so boring, but it's incredible. There's so much else that goes on. It's phenomenal. I gave this to my sister-in-law when she wanted to get back into reading, and I was like, here, read this. And she said that this book is like what got her back into reading, and this is like on her top 2 along with Verity as well. So if you're gonna read anything from this video, if you like romance, read this. The first book, she's in high school. The second book, she's in college, and then the third book, I think she's finishing college. So it is like a little bit of a younger age, at least for me, but it reads like an adult book. So it is phenomenal. Loved this book. All right, next up I have One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I actually haven't finished this book. I'm like 3/4 the way through it, but I took a break from it because I was reading something else. But basically this is about Emma Blair, who gets married to this guy, and it was like her crush her whole life, and they finally start dating and they get married, and they're on a anniversary, their like 1-year anniversary trip in a different like country or something, and he gets on a helicopter for some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of job thing, and the helicopter goes down and he's presumed missing. So she ends up moving home with her parents, and about 2 years later she's engaged to a guy from her childhood that's kind of always been there on the back burner. But anyways, she strikes up a romance with him. They get engaged and they're about to get married when her husband comes home, and he was found on this like deserted island, and it's kind of how she deals with like the fact that she has moved on with her life, and like reprocessing all of that grief. Anyways, really good book. Taylor Jenkins Reid is a great author. This is more women's fiction or women's contemporary rather than a romance, because it's really about the growth of this girl, Emma Blair. Anyways, really great read if you're into stuff like that. All right, next up is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. This is the perfect book to read right now because it's been so sunny and the weather's been so nice. But basically, this is a story about Olive and Ethan. I'm just like reading the back for the names names. It's been a while. Olive and Ethan, and basically Olive's sister is getting married to Ethan's brother. And at the wedding, everyone in the wedding party, everyone at the wedding eats this fish and gets sick except for Olive and Ethan, which is the bride's sister and the groom's brother. And basically, the bride and groom had won like a sweepstakes to go on a honeymoon trip for free. And so because they're like profusely throwing up and they can't get off the toilet, they send Olive and Ethan on this trip as like to take their place so at least somebody can enjoy it. But Olive and Ethan hate each other, and so basically it's kind of their romance. They have to pretend to be married. Oh my god, please don't park next to me. Oh my god, they're gonna park next to me. Why have they not got out of the car yet? So awkward. I hate myself. Alright, and we're resuming. So basically, Olive and Ethan go on this honeymoon trip, and they have to pretend to be the bride and groom and pretend to be married. So it's like a really funny book. But it's like takes place in Hawaii, I think. Yeah. And so it's very beachy and fun and relaxing. So if you're like laying out or something, this is a great book to read. Okay, next up I have Maybe Someday, and then the second book, which is Maybe Now. These are Maybe Someday is my absolute favorite book, like, of all time. This is a Colleen Hoover book, and this is really the book that really did it for me, made me fall in love with Colleen. Basically, this is a story about Sydney and Ridge, and basically Sydney, at the very beginning of the book, Sydney walks into her apartment and she lives with her best friend, and finds out that her best friend and her boyfriend have been like hooking up, cheating with each other on her. She ends up moving out and actually moves into the apartment next door with this random guy that she's kind of been communicating with, like, from the other balcony. And basically he is a artist, and he creates music for this band. He writes the music for them, and so she starts to help him write music, but there is like a plot twist that you find out like in like the third chapter, and I don't want to tell you because it's really like the whole premise of the book, but it is so good. Basically they write music together, and an actual real life artist recorded the music and kind of helped write the music, and partnered with Colleen Hoover, and he recorded it, so you can listen to the album anywhere you listen to music. I think like Apple Music and Spotify. And listening to the music is so cool because it's like you feel like you're listening to the Ridge sing this song. So it's really neat. It combines like reading and music, and that's just amazing. I made one of my sisters in my sorority read this, and she was obsessed with it. She said it's her favorite Colleen Hoover book. And then the second book, Maybe Now, follows the same storyline, so they do go together. But it was so good. I highly recommend. Please read this. This is my favorite book of all time. This is my last Colleen Hoover book. This is November 9 by Colleen Hoover. This is a story about Fallon. This is a book about Fallon and Ben, and Fallon meets Ben on November 9th for the first time. And she's moving across the country to New York, I believe. So she's moving all the way across the country to New York in like 2 days, but she meets Ben, and she like kind of like basically falls in love with him on that day, November 9th. So they make a plan that every year on November 9th they're gonna meet back up at that same diner, and they're just gonna hang out for a whole day, and they only have 24 hours to spend with each other. So this, amazing. This right here, I cried so hard. It was so good. It's so hard to like tell you the synopses of Colleen Hoover's books because I have to be so vague because there's so much that like I can't tell you, but it's like the whole plot of the book, but it's like a spoiler if I tell you now. So anyways, please read this. It is so good. It's good. Please read this. All right, and then lastly, I think it's last. Let me check my list. Okay, yeah, so lastly I have Mudvayne, and I'll put the picture of the cover somewhere on the screen. This is by Taryn Fisher, and This is a book about, I think her name is Sienna or Senna, I can't remember, and Isaac, and let me start over. This is a book about Sienna or Senna, and basically she wakes up in this house that she can't get out of, and it's just this random house in like the middle of snow. Like she just wakes up and she has no memory. She was like at the gas station, that was the last thing she remembers, and basically she has to figure out how to get out of this house, who put her here, and she is like discovering the house and exploring, and she finds that there's a guy there with her named Isaac, and he's somebody from her past, and that's really all you know at the beginning of the book. And it flips back and forth between present and past. And in the past, she, you know, talks about like her, you know, experiences. I don't even know how to explain. Basically, this book is an allegory for life, and it is incredible. I learned so much about myself. I am a changed person after reading this book. It was phenomenal. Gosh, it was just so good, and I highly recommend this book to anyone who really wants some kind of depth in their fictional books. I don't even know what to like call this genre. I would just say fiction. I mean, it's not a real story, but it is so incredible. The storyline is great, but you also learn so much about being a human in this book. It is just so good. So I highly recommend that one. I just don't have a hard copy yet. I'm gonna buy one sooner or later. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope this video wasn't too long. I think I've been here for so long. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up and comment down below if you guys have any video ideas for me, or if you have any more questions about book recommendations. Anyways, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on my social media if you want to keep up with what's going on as far as YouTube videos go and stuff like that. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys later.